Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Jesse, also known as Sublime, and today we're back with another spin and go video. I know you guys love the spin and go videos. Sadly, yet again, we're only spinning for 200,000. And as you guys see, I'm trying to tinker around with how the camera works, and I haven't actually filmed a spin and go video for quite a long time, so forgive me if things kind of look a little weird. But it's alright. First, we start off with the 3-5 here on a small blind. Flop comes out 3 king king ace. Checks all around the board. Check, check, check. And I end up taking that pot home with a pair of 3s on the flop. We then get a queen 8 here on the button. And I call for 20. And we get a raise from Colorado Blake to 60, so I have to call that 50. Flop comes out queen jack 6. We got a pair of queens here, top pair on the board. I think it's strong enough to bet into, so I raise up to 75. Colorado Blake ends up folding it, and I think he was saying some mean things to me there. So what I do is I take out my mute remote, and you'll see here, I accidentally clicked the camera. It's a whole situation here, but yeah, I end up just muting him so I don't have to deal with it no more, but that's okay. Flop comes out 10 ace 6, and we got a queen 6, so we got a pair of 6s there. Checks all around. He ends up going all in. Kind of a weird spot to go all in. I wasn't really in hindsight, I probably should have called him, and there I'm readjusting myself. Guys, this video is definition of improv. It's definition of how not to make a video. But regardless, we get a king 9 on a small blind. But Kick Fam raises it to 90, and at this point he was playing with his cards to his chest, so I believed him when he raised, and I had to just fold that. We then get an 8 jack here on the button. And we get a Colorado Blake raises it to 30. Now, Colorado Blake, I noticed he's playing pretty loose, so that's why I called him on that with the 8 jack. 2 7s come out on the flop, and on the flop, 1 7 comes out on a turn, another 7 comes out. I'm trying to bet like I have the 7. Luckily, both these guys bought into my bluff, and I got to take that little pot home. We're now sitting as a chip leader at around 700 chips, and we get dealt the 7 deuce. Never lose, or 7-2, never lose. Flop comes out 8-7 ace, all of diamonds, checks all around, but Colorado Blake just chucks his chips right on the table, and he did it with such aggression that I just had to fold. He showed he had a king 8 there, so he was beating us, so we had 7 with the kicker of being a deuce. We get a 2-8 here on a small blind. I just do a little call to see a flop. He ends up flipping over his card showing he had 9-5. So I just folded the cards. He was most likely going to win 9 times out of 10. So I didn't want to be any part of that. We get a 4-3 here though on the button. And Colorado Blake raises it again. This guy's been raising it. This guy's been very loose. And, I see a fish that's ready to be plucked. And I want to take all of his chips. So the flop comes out 8 deuce queen, and immediately folds his cards. This is a common theme of him raising the pre-flop, and then on the flop you bet into him, he folds. It's a common theme, and I kind of exploited it, and I kind of exploited his tilt later on in the video as well. We have a 10-5 here on the big blind. Flop comes out 3-9 deuce. Colorado Blake ends up just betting 45. Both myself and Kick Fam end up just throwing our cards away. We then get a king 7 here on a small blind. We're still the chip leader at around 710 chips. We're doing quite well for ourselves. And yet again, there's Colorado Blake throwing in a raise at 80. Flop comes out ace 10 6. I'm gonna see how bad he can bluff, and I bluffed into him, and he called me out on it. He went all in, and he got that 150 chips for free. We're no longer the chip leader at this point though, but that's going to change for the better. We get a 10 king here and we end up pushing all in. I want to get my chips back from Colorado Blake, so he ends up going all in as well, and Kick Fam's like, you guys have fun with that. You guys can duke it out yourselves. He's showing he has a king jack, but luckily for us, a 10 shows up on the flop. So the only card he can actually beat us with is a jack. No jack comes. So we end up taking that pot home. And we're now, again, the chip leader. We're at 960 chips. Okay. We pull a 3-8 of diamonds here on the big blind. And I'm waiting for Colorado Blake to go. He actually calls. I think this was the first time he actually limped in to see a flop. And the flop comes out ace jack jack. So Colorado Blake just ends up folding without making a bet. He's playing very kind of unpredictable at this point. And yeah, I bet 40, and Kick Fam just says, I believe ya, and he throws his cards away. We then get a 3-9. And Colorado Blake here ends up just going all in, and I'm going to make a video about this at some point, but I want to keep the short stack short. So I don't buy into his notion of going all in. He could have had shit cards, but at the end of the day, I want to keep the short stack short. So I don't have to deal with losing half of my stack when I do have a good hand to go all in against him. Kick Fam ends up calling Colorado Blake. He has 9 queen and Kick Fam has jack jack. And the jacks will hold till the end. It's a very rare sight, but they do hold up. And Colorado Blake was, he seemed really agitated at this table. Like, I don't know, right from the get-go, he kind of seemed like very agitated. You can see he throws all in again. Kick Fam calls. I tried to raise it, but apparently you can't raise on that. I have ace queen, so for common courtesy, because I was going to raise, I raise on him. Kick Fam calls. It's just customary when a glitch like that happens. Luckily for us, Colorado Blake was showing a jack 7. And that's the time that she wrote for Colorado Jack. Colorado Jack got eliminated, and I eliminated him with my ace queen with a high card. Actually, a pair with a high card. But yeah, now we're up against Kick Fam, and Kick Fam, I have about a 3-1 chip lead on him. Flop comes out for 4-8-8. Luckily, he calls out my bluff. He goes all in, and I believe he had the 8. If I'm not mistaken, he told me he had an 8. I'll trust him. Like I said, our Kick Fam here has been playing with his cards to his chest, so I didn't see any reason not to believe him. We flop a pair of kings here, and Kick Fam sees right through it. I show him, hey, I had a king. And he said, oh, that beat my ace kicker. We get an 8-9 here on a big blind suited of spades. Flop comes out 9, queen 5. Kick Fam bets into me. A 3 comes out. He goes all in. At this point, I'm thinking he has a queen. And my inkling was correct. He did have a queen. Then we get a king 6 here on a small blind. We're now about 2-1 chip advantage on him, so he's catching up, and we don't want that to happen more often. So Jack 9-7 comes out with another jack. We both check, and then a 6 pops out. I throw out a bet for 125. And Kick Fam says, I had an ace. I think that would have held up. And I said, absolutely not, sir. My 6 is decent, and it will hold. We then get a 7 jack suited here on the big blind. But Kick Fam doesn't want to let us play it, so he ends up folding his cards. And then get a queen 3 here on the small blind. Don't know why it's not showing up on the what is it called? The overlay, but I was indeed the small blind. And as you guys know, these are called the sublime yawns. I tend to yawn when I'm making videos, so deal with it. We get a queen 7, and the flop comes out queen 7-8. He bets 100, I call it. I got 2 pair, but I'm worried about that flush draw. He ends up going all in. And I said, I have a 2-pair. I have to call you here. And this is what she wrote. I got a queen 7. He has a 10 jack. Luckily for us, another queen pops out. We end the game with a full house. And that's the video, everybody. We end up winning. We get our picture with the trophy. We have good sportsmanship. And we bump fists with our opponent. And that's all she wrote. So I want to thank you guys for coming out to this video. If you guys haven't subscribed, liked the video, commented, all that jazz. Make sure you guys do all that. And have a safe one out there. It's 4th of July weekend. And, get the drinks going, but be responsible while you're doing it. Bye-bye, everybody.